Bet the Breeders' Cup with the DRF app. The Daily Racing Form app is a highly rated, powerful tool that makes handicapping and wagering fast and easy, putting you in position to win big at the races. Register today to double your first deposit up to $250. Get the DRF app now. Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Friday, November the 6th, race number 10 at Keeneland. Let's throw up the field for the Grade 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile. You can download free formulator past performances for this race on the Race of the Day event page at drf.com. Access them, handicap along with us. It's a big field, but all eyes are going to be on the undefeated number 7, Jackie's Warrior. 4 for 4 in his career, including 2 Grade 1 wins. Now he's got to go 2 turns for the first time.
Yeah, they're going to ask, something different of him once again. He's been incrementally stretching out in his career, Dan. He's going to stretch out one more time around 2 turns. If you know anything about him, you know that he's wicked fast early. So he'll probably be on the early lead. And we'll see if he can, clear this next hurdle, because if he clears this one, you got yourself a 2-year-old champion.
Perfect segue to our Timeform US pace projector. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Jackie's Warrior has won his last 3 in gate-to-wire fashion, and you got to think Joel Rosario is not going to be fooling around. He's probably just faster than recent gate-to-wire maiden winner Likable, the number 4. Bob Baffert's 8 classier stretches out with speed. It'll be interesting to see if Baffert and Florent Giroux try to put some heat on Jackie's Warrior.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see just how all the other riders played. I mean, there are, several horses in here who are coming off of, recent wins or at least good performances where they were showing speed. I don't know that they have Jackie's Warriors kind of speed, though, Dan. I mean, this feels to me like a little bit of a top-heavy race. There's some filler in here. Jackie's Warrior, he's going to be very tough to deal with for anybody who tries to go after him early.
I think the connections of the number 3 Reinvestment Risk are very happy to see the 4 and the 8 ahead of him in the early portion of this race. He's been doing the dirty work chasing Jackie's Warrior in his last 2 races, and I think this time around he'll be more than happy to let someone else take up that role.
Yeah, he definitely wants somebody else to go forward and chase Jackie's Warrior so he can maybe sit and have at least a better chance to try to run that horse down.
Horse coming from mid-pack is the number 1, Camp Hope, 30-1 on the morning line, wheeling back on 12 days' notice after a nice debut victory at Churchill Downs, going this distance for trainer Kenny McPeak. There wasn't a lot of pace on for him. He rolled by those horses. He looked good doing it. Giant step up in class.
Yeah, I was pretty taken by his debut win. I thought he looked good winning that race. They did not send him from the gate, so he got caught a little bit wide on the first turn, but he just moved up on the outside. He was much the best in there with a 69 buyer. They're asking a lot of this horse. Kenny McPeak has some really good 2-year-olds in his barn, and they're going to take a shot with this horse. He's going to have to improve quite a bit.
McPeak also has the 2 King Fury, who is hoping for a real red bar, fast-paced scenario here. He's expected to be next to last in the early portion. The deep closer is the 13 that doesn't get a chiclet. King Fury has 2 wins at this distance, including the Street Sense last time out. I don't know if he was completely exposed in the Breeders' Futurity. He was wide that day, but he didn't do very well against some of these.
Yeah, I guess that would be the main concern. I do appreciate the fact that he rebounded and won with a top figure last time. And he did. Listen, if you want to give him the excuse for the Breeders' Futurity, I mean, he was caught on the outside all the way and could never get over. So that trip really didn't work out for him. He had no finish at all, but maybe the trip just was too much for him to overcome.
Reinvestment Risk was second last time out to Jackie's Warrior in the Champagne. He's done little wrong in 3 starts, earning 90 buyer speed figures or better in all of them. And again, we are hoping, if you're a Reinvestment Risk fan, that someone else goes to the lead and perhaps battles it out with the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, that's what he really needs, I guess, at this point. I mean, he gets more distance to work with in here. He maybe gets more pace and somebody else to make Jackie's Warrior work a little bit harder. All in all, this horse has run really well in all 3 of his races, Dan. He has been absolutely no match for Jackie's Warrior in the 2 Grade 1s recently, but he didn't run poorly in those races. He just needs a different kind of a trip. And if he gets a different kind of a trip, he might be every bit as good as Jackie's Warrior around 2 turns.
And perhaps he'll appreciate the extra distance a little bit more than Jackie's Warrior as well. Likable, the number 4, scored last time out at Belmont for Todd Pletcher with a solid 81 buyer. Let's watch that race right now. An expensive son of Frosted who went right to the front, controlled the pace, and kept right on going. Not sure of the competition he beat that day. You see, he's still a little bit green on his left lead right now in the stretch, but he has done little wrong in his short career, and he just looks like the kind of horse that's going to appreciate distance. Whether he's going to appreciate distance against grade ones and only his 3rd lifetime start, that could be another story completely.
Yeah, we'll see how he does this time. I mean, he beat an absolutely awful field last time, and he did it while getting loose on the lead on a pretty slow pace. There's just no way this race is going to be run like that. His debut, to me, he didn't run poorly, but I don't like the horse that he lost to. There's just nothing about his 2 races that makes me think he's going to be competitive in here.
Let's watch Essential Quality's 2nd lifetime start, a win over course and distance in the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity. He's the gray, and he had a very good trip in this race, prompting the pace setter from the outside. He took over going into the stretch. He never looked like a loser at any part in this race. He's not the prettiest mover in the world. He's got a big paddle with his left 4, but this horse has some talent, Mike, and I think he's versatile enough to adapt to any kind of pace scenario. I don't think he needs to be up close.
Yeah, he's going to have to adapt because he got up close to a pretty soft pace last time. It was too good for those horses. This race will be running a totally different situation. Maybe he can do it, Dan. His debut was actually pretty good. He overcame some trouble to win that race, so it shows that he's got some grit and some determination. He did take a big step forward last time. I won't be surprised if he's competitive with these horses.
We saw the maiden, the number 6, Keep Me in Mind, just finished 2nd to Essential Quality in the Breeders' Futurity at a gigantic price. Robertino Diodoro is going to put blinkers on today, hoping that maybe that closes the gap a little bit. He's going to have to run well again, but at a big price. I mean, why can't he at least crack the exotics?
I mean, maybe he can. I thought he ran well last time. I thought he was interesting going into that race, Dan, because he had such a tough trip in his career debut when he was rained off the turf. I just thought he ran a lot better than it looks first time out. And he took a step forward last time. Unfortunately for him, he lands in a race here where he's going to have to take a step forward again. But I do think he's a horse who will appreciate a fast pace in front of him. I do think he's the kind of horse who wants to sit back and make one run.
Jose Ortiz takes the mount for Diodoro. Jackie's Warrior is the 7, 4 for 4 in his career, 100 buyer in this race, the grade 1 Champagne. The first time he tried a mile, albeit a 1-turn mile at Belmont Park. Let's watch Jackie's Warrior's effort. He blasted off to the early lead. He meets the challenge from Reinvestment Risk on the outside, and he just keeps on going. He set a legitimate pace. Reinvestment Risk took a shot at him, and this is sort of like a carbon copy of the Hopeful, only this time Jackie's Warrior is getting away from Reinvestment Risk.
Yeah, I mean, based on this race, it doesn't feel like the added 16th of a mile is going to be any problem for him, Dan. He did get away with a pretty soft pace in that Champagne. I mean, once he broke running and got to the front, you could just see Reinvestment Risk, his rider decided, I'm not going after this horse. I'm going to sit and see what happens in the stretch. As it turns out, he didn't get anywhere near this horse in the stretch. This horse is supremely talented. He is wicked fast. And if he gets the mile and a 16th, they're going to have a whale of a time beating him.
Bob Baffert's getting aggressive with the 8 Classier, a debut winner just 13 days ago in a sprint race at Santa Anita. Let's watch that effort right now, going 6.5. Classier was 7-2 this day. He doesn't look like a 7-2 shot right now. He went right to the front, improved his position throughout. 78 buyer speed figure. He's bred to run all day long.
Yeah, he is. It's interesting because they paid a lot of money for him, despite him not having a ton of pedigree. He certainly looked good winning first time out. He didn't break that sharply from the rail, but he had good speed and he just dominated that field. They're asking a lot of him in this race, though, especially if he wants to be forward, because Jackie's Warrior is probably too fast for this horse.
If this pace falls apart, Sitting on Go might be the one to directly benefit. He looked good last time out in the Iroquois. I know he got a fast pace that day, but he saved ground at the back, swung real wide into the stretch, and he just rolled them all down with a respectable 84 buyer speed figure. He's come back with some quick works at Churchill Downs. This one's one to watch late.
I agree with that. He's run well in both of his starts. They stretched him out last time, and you're right that he had a good setup. But you know what? He's supposed to have a good setup in here as well. And he's got a really strong finish to him. This is an interesting horse at a price.
Trainer Diodoro has Keep Me in Mind. He also has another son of Laoban, the 10 Dreamers Disease, who won at Keeneland going a mile last time out. Now winners at 2 Life Optional Claimer. Let's watch that effort. And nice ride by David Cohen. Just got Dreamers Disease right to the front. Back down the pace to a 48-3. Dreamers Disease does the rest at 13-1. This trip, unfortunately, is not available to him on Friday.
Right. He's run 4 times. His 2 wins both have something in common, in that he got loose on relatively soft paces, and his 2 losses have something in common too, where he couldn't make the lead and he got trounced. He can't make the lead in here.
Next scored in an off-the-turf race last time out, his second consecutive victory for trainer Wesley Ward. He's just another runner sired by this exciting young stallion, Not This Time. Let's watch Next score going a mile and a 16th, right to the front and taking no prisoners. Like the way he's striding out in the lane in here, Mike. Not sure what he's beating, certainly not anything close to the caliber of what he's going to face on Friday, but showed some nice potential here.
Yeah, he really did. He looked good winning this race, just ran away from this field in the stretch. Listen, we'll see what kind of trip he can get, Dan. He won without the lead on turf 2 starts back, and they're going to have to try to get him to improve with those tactics in this spot, but he looked good winning last time.
Hot Rod Charlie steps up off a maiden win for Doug O'Neill at Santa Anita. Let's watch that race right now. There wasn't a lot of pace at all. The half mile in 49 seconds flat. Hot Rod Charlie's on the outside right now, going to go by this 2-5 favorite Parnelli. Parnelli at least would come back to run second with an 85 buyer, but Hot Rod Charlie is all out.
He is all out, but he's also very game to prevail, and it was a mile back to the rest of that field. So this horse ran well. He went turf to dirt. He took a big step forward there, and he got the job done. And now he's just in a much tougher spot from a tough outside post.
Not sure this year's Grade 1 American Pharaoh at Santa Anita was the strongest addition, but Rombauer did some good things in his dirt debut. Let's watch that race right now. He came from last in here on the turn to get into second position behind Get Her Number, who's controlling things into the stretch. And I think all things considering, Rombauer ran really well, easily second best. The third place horse Spielberg came back to win with an 85 buyer.
Yeah, I mean, he did run well in here, trying to come from last. He just can't get up. Both he and the winner were making their main track debuts in that race in a Grade 1, and they ran 1-2. We'll see what happens. Obviously, sitting back off the pace in this race feels like it may work out better for him because they're supposed to be going faster, but he's got a lot to prove against this kind of horse.
Tough post position for Calibrate, who looked good in his career debut at Saratoga, then just didn't fire in the Breeders' Futurity. I liked his debut race. This just seems like a tough spot from a tough post.
Yeah, I liked his debut too. He worked hard for that win, but he wasn't effective at all when they stretched him out last time.
Let's take a look at our top selections for the Friday DRF race of the day, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Mike, taking some slight stances against the favorite Jackie's Warrior. You think Reinvestment Risk can turn the tables?
Yeah, I'm hoping so anyway. I'm not really against Jackie's Warrior in here, Dan. I think he's way the horse to beat. I wonder if there's enough to get Reinvestment Risk over the hump this time. Maybe there's a little bit more pace for Jackie's Warrior to deal with. A little bit more distance could help as well. It's just the kind of race where I had trouble getting interested in the longer prices, Dan. I think the favorites look pretty solid in here. Maybe Reinvestment Risk at a slightly better price could get the job done.
Essential Quality showed his affinity for this track in the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity, as well as this distance. And he was able to rally from a little bit further back in his career debut. So while he did get a nice trip up close to the pace last time out, I do think he's adaptable for the Brad Cox barn. Nice bullet workout should have him on his toes. Mike's going 3-7-9-5. I'm going 5-7-3-6. It's the Friday DRF race of the day. It's the 2020 Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Bet the Breeders' Cup with the DRF app. The Daily Racing Form app is a highly rated, powerful tool that makes handicapping and wagering fast and easy, putting you in position to win big at the races. Register today to double your first deposit up to $250. Get the DRF app now.